How do I find a new job? How can I make a career change? And the biggest question of all, can I really find a career that I love? Hey, my name is Jen Smith, and I believe career success doesn't have to be at the expense of living a radiantly happy and healthy lifestyle. As a former HR leader and recruiter turned career coach, I get what companies are looking for when hiring top talent. What that means for you is an unmatched combination of insider knowledge and the best kept secrets about making heart-based career changes and navigating the ups and downs of job searching in today's world of work. Whether you're a recent graduate navigating the job market for the first time or a seasoned professional ready for a career change, this show is for you. So grab your coffee or your kombucha, pull up a seat, and get ready to be challenged and inspired to move beyond your self-doubt and take the right next steps towards landing a career you love. Because you deserve a long, radiantly happy and healthy career. This is the Flourish Careers Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Flourish Careers Podcast. I'm Jen Smith, your host, and I'm thrilled to have you back for another segment of our special summer series, 5 Minutes to Flourish. This series provides quick and actionable tips to help you flourish in your work and well-being in 5 minutes or less. Today, we are jumping into a commonly asked interview question that I know so many heart-based job seekers struggle with. And that question is, tell me about a time when you made a mistake. Now, you might be wondering why interviewers ask this question and why they love it so much. So let's break it down. First things first, my friends, perfection is impossible. And your interviewer knows that. They're not trying to disqualify you or penalize you just because you've made a mistake in the past. Instead, they're really more interested in understanding how you dealt with the mistake and what you learned. So when you talk about a mistake, they want to understand several things. 1, how you handle challenges. 2, your level of self-awareness. 3, how well you acknowledge and admit errors. And then 4, what you learned from mistakes and what you're going to do to prevent them in the future. And your response can reveal a lot about your character and how you operate under pressure. And the interviewer can then relate that to the job you're interviewing for. So now that we talked about why this question gets asked, let's talk about your responses. First, choosing the right mistake to discuss. I always recommend focusing on minor mistakes and then, of course, highlight the lesson you learned. So some types of minor mistakes, miscommunication or a misunderstanding, a lack of attention to detail, a time that you were reactive instead of proactive. And then on the flip side, there are some mistakes that I recommend avoiding talking about. One would be some type of character flaw, like I'm always late. You want to avoid talking about a mistake that involves one of the key skills for the job you're applying for. So for example, if you're applying for a financial analyst position, you don't want to talk about a fundamental accounting error that you made. Of course, we're not talking about legal, ethical, or any type of controversial issues. And you also don't want to talk about a mistake that's not really a mistake. So sometimes people talk about, oh, I just care too much or I work too hard. Those aren't really mistakes. And then, of course, you never want to say that you've never made a mistake or you can't think of one. Nobody is perfect. So by carefully choosing the right mistake to discuss and focus on what you learned, you're going to show your interviewer that you can handle challenges and grow from your experiences. So now let's talk about an example and how to craft a compelling response. I love the OAR framework for responding to any interview question. It's objective, O is objective, A is action, and then R is result. Think of this as telling a story with a clear beginning, middle, and end. So with the objective, you want to set the scene and share the context. With the action, you want to describe the mistake and your response. And then the result, share what you learned. Okay, let me give you an example of how this might come together. So we want to start by laying out the situation and providing the context. Keep it brief and relevant. So here's a potential response. I was responsible for coordinating the logistics for a live virtual presentation for 100 colleagues across the country. Our senior vice president of sales was scheduled to discuss their career path. So then after you set the stage, you want to move to the action. Be direct about the mistake you made and then explain what led to it without getting defensive or blaming others. So for example, continuing with what I just shared, you could say something like, we had a last-minute time change for this event due to business needs, and I forgot to update the calendar for the senior vice president. As we were preparing to go live, our speaker wasn't there. The second I realized this, I contacted their admin, we located them, and they were able to join just a few minutes late. And then finally, you want to share the result and what you learned. So continuing on with this example, as a result, the event started with only a slight delay. This really taught me the importance of being better prepared for last-minute changes. So I created a checklist for all the major components of the events that I coordinate, including where various pieces of information are communicated or recorded. Now, when a similar situation arises, I have a reference to ensure I cover everything and don't miss a beat. So with that example, you could clearly hear what I learned and what I did to make sure it didn't happen again. It tells the story, has a positive tone, and is relevant and brief. So as we wrap up, the tell me about a time when you made a mistake question isn't just about revealing your flaws. It's an opportunity to showcase your resilience, adaptability, and growth mindset. So there you have it, my friends. Remember to focus on key learnings and positive outcomes the next time you're asked this question. Show your interviewer that you're humble enough to admit mistakes and that you grow and learn from them. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's a wrap for today. And I'll be back next week with another mini dose of insight. Talk to you next time.